Now, private legal practitioner Asa Nkuma is warning 2016 could record the worst election violence if much is not done to curb lawlessness in the country. Now, looking back on law and order in Ghana in 2015, Mr. Nkuma said revelations of widespread corruption in the Ghanaian judiciary suggested a weakening of the legal systems in the country.
Affecting law and order of the nation were tested. The law was tested. The institutions that are supposed to maintain law and order were tested. I won't say whether we came out. I won't say that we came out with flying colors, because some of the issues are yet to be resolved. But you could see that the institutions were being tested. The issue of law and order coming up with the judicial bribery and corruption scheme. So the institution of the relevant probes and investigations in line with the Constitution. People thought it was slow. It was a slow process, but it's getting to a certain end. And so I will say that law itself was tested, order was tested. I'm not sure we came out in flying colors. There were areas we did. There are many, many more areas that we could have done better.
Biggest corruption scandal in the judiciary. I mean, judiciary is supposed to execute law and order and ensure there is justice in the country. And if this institution is now taking money and tampering with justice, then we have a big problem. What do you make of the corruption scandal in the judiciary?
Well, just to situate it in the chronology, we saw the results of a 2-year investigation in 2015.
Okay.
So it's not as if it was it was bottled in
2015.
But it tells us that our institutions are not immune from the corrupting influences that exist. That if gold rusts, what should the rest do? What do the rest of the metals do? And so it's brought into sharp focus the fact that we are not there yet. And I'm glad that video came out, and it has given us an opportunity to try to fix the system.
Right.
It is big, it is huge, it shook the very foundations of this country and this judicial system. But I think that the judiciary will emerge stronger by making sure that those who are wrong are punished and punished appropriately. The judiciary can and will come out of it stronger. But yes, it was a major landmark in 2015.
Are you impressed with how small arms have found their way so easily into our system, and most of them pass through our borders?
Well, I wouldn't even say small arms. An arm is an arm. It can kill. Look, we have an essential systemic failure. Okay, they just arrested people with 1 million pellets, 1 million cartridges coming into Ghana,
right? And
he would have come in. But I asked a question about that. If the story is that they had a tip-off that the guy that they were bringing bullets into Ghana, why did they arrest them at the border?
Right.
Why didn't they follow them into town to see where they were going to put the bullets?
Exactly.
And find out who ordered it. Because now you catch the person at the border, he doesn't speak, he goes to jail. Whoever ordered it is free.
Okay.
So sometimes when you say that, you can't understand how we work on these things. But you're right. The proliferation of arms is something we need to look at very carefully. Others say, look, we need to protect ourselves. Armed robbers are invading our homes, stealing our money, manhandling our wives and daughters. We need to protect ourselves. How best do you protect yourself? So people are buying guns under the guise of protecting themselves. Once again, there's law which requires registration of arms. And that if you are registered with if you are arrested with an arm that is not registered, punishment is supposed to come to you. There's a process of yearly renewing your licenses from your guns.
Right.
How well are we doing it? Because if we did that, we probably will have an idea how many we have here, who is entitled to have it, who is not entitled to have it. But of course, once it's all unregistered, if there's a fight, then everybody goes to bring out the unregistered arm. Because if I am registered to me, I have a Luger 25 mm, and a shooting takes place near me, it may be traced directly to me. But if it is not registered, I go use it and nobody's tracing it back to me. Let's fix the law. Let's fix the system. A lot of these are symptoms of a broken system.
In 2016, some governance experts have predicted will be very competitive. It will be filled with activities because we are entering an election year. How is 2016 going to look like? We're talking about law, we're talking about order, we're talking about public safety.
That 2016 won't be much different from 2014 or 2008 if we don't stamp out the culture of impunity, particularly with political violence. The stakes in the election are high. Each of the two parties will do its utmost to win. We ought to have, although the government is considered by one party, we ought to have people who are prepared to make sure the law works. Violence might raise its head. If we deal with it, it will serve as an example and a deterrent. And hopefully deter others from going down the line. If we don't deal with it, it becomes tit for tat. The person who was affected wants to react. The person who did it says, well, we did it this time and got away with it, we'll do it again, and then we'll go down the slippery slope. So let's hope that this time around, we are prepared to make sure the law works. If we do that, 2016 might be better than the previous years. If we don't, it might just mirror the previous election years or even be worse.
And on that note, we end News Desk this morning here on Joy News Multi TV. My name is Kwabena Chencheni Boating. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. Up next is Joy News Interactive with Benis Abubeidu.